Today, I am so excited to be answering your questions. I get tons of wonderful comments and questions on the blog and YouTube and Instagram, so I thought it'd be fun to compile them all into a video. And as a special treat, my mysterious husband Brian is going to be reading all the questions off camera. All right, first off.
What did you do before Preppy Kichen?
Before Preppy Kichen, I was a math and science teacher for middle school students. It was a really fun job, but this is fun too, so happy both ways.
How did you go from teaching to baking?
Well, my wonderful husband Brian moved us to New York, and it wasn't during hiring season, so I basically didn't have a teaching job and one wasn't on the horizon. So I followed my passion and started sharing my recipes on Preppy Kichen.
When and how did you start to get into baking?
I grew up in the kitchen with my mom, so she had me as her little sous chef basically as soon as I could stand. And I always knew that I loved cooking and loved baking, and it was something that I was excited to share.
Can you share any epic fails?
Do you remember any epic fails? So I've had cakes where they're really tender and delicious, but sometimes I'm rushing things and they're a bit too warm when you cut into them, and they basically just start splitting apart because they're not stable. So a lot of my mistakes have happened from just trying to rush time and having cakes that topple or split apart.
Why is my buttercream always too sweet?
Okay, so sweet buttercream is an American buttercream thing. If you're making American buttercream with confectioner sugar and butter, then you're going to have a sweet, sweet buttercream. Try using an Italian meringue buttercream or a Swiss meringue buttercream.
How do you get the perfect crumb coat?
You get the perfect crumb coat by having nice flat cake layers, and you can click up here for my how to get flat cake layers video, but that's your base. Once you have those, chill them or let them cool to completely room temperature, stack them and use a very thin coat of buttercream, just enough to protect it from getting crummy when you add your final coat on. Go ahead and chill it if it looks at all unstable.
Where do all your shirts come from?
Mostly from J. Crew. Some of them are from Uniqlo. I don't fit into any of the fancy ones right now because I've been eating a lot of cake, peeps.
How old were you when you started cake decoration?
I was in my mid-30s because I never decorated a cake in a fancy way. My mom never did that. They always tasted great, but they never looked like anything more than just like a homemade cake, if you know what I mean. So when I started sharing my recipes on Instagram, my husband told me that people can't taste things online, they can only see them. So I had to up my game and apply my skills as a fine artist to baking.
What is your favorite kind of cake to decorate?
A naked cake. No, my favorite kind of cake to decorate has flowers on it. I just love the way buttercream flowers look. It makes it look so special and delicate and sweet. And it shows someone that you spent a little bit of extra time to make something for them special.
Are your boys picky eaters?
Are my boys picky eaters? Yes and no. One of them, George, if you've seen him online, he's the one who's like blonde and mischievous looking. He'll eat anything. Like anything he will just put in his mouth. Doesn't matter if it's dust on the floor or a vegetable. Lachlan, my sweet little angel baby, has a very specific palate, and he loves things that are soft things, and very few of them. So yes and no.
Will we ever get to see your husband?
Will I ever get to see my husband online? Will he ever be on the camera?
No.
No, he won't. But you're hearing him now. This is amazing.
Is it possible to make your cakes without a fancy mixture?
Oh, a fancy mixer? Yes. You can totally make them just with a bowl and a whisk for the most part. If you're strong, you can make the whipped cream with just a whisk and a bowl, and just fold in some mascarpone cheese, and you can decorate a cake with that. Or you can make a simple batter, like dry ingredients, add the wet, whisk it together, and then you will bake that, make a simple frosting for it, and you're done. You don't need a fancy mixer for some recipes.
Do all of your recipes for cake only have egg whites?
No, a lot of my cakes have full eggs in them. I use egg whites because It's just a color issue. It makes the cake more yellow, so if you want to make a yellow cake, perfect. But if you're making a soft pink rose-colored cake, you don't want the yellow yolks in there, so you're gonna sub in some sour cream or yogurt to bring the moisture that you lost from the yolks.
What are the best options to flavor white buttercream frosting?
So some people don't like tinging their buttercream with vanilla extract because it makes it a yellower color. In that case, use an almond extract. You can use some rose water. You can use some orange blossom water, or think of like, if you want to add a color to it, that's a whole other story. But orange blossom, rose water, and almond extract are nice and clear.
A lot of people ask about buttercream substitutions because they hate buttercream.
There's a lot of people that want to make cakes but hate buttercream. I get questions like, why does this buttercream taste like there's butter in it, basically, because they don't like the way butter tastes. So you can make a whipped cream cake and you can fold in the mascarpone, or you can just make a nice beautiful glaze. So just take some confectioner sugar and then add in some lemon juice, some raspberry juice, whatever you want, and you can do like a little simple glaze and it'll be delicious.
Do you eat all the cakes you make?
I would like to eat all of the cakes I make, but in actuality, I share a bunch. I send some home. Well, I send some to my husband's office so they can have treats as well. And I don't eat all the cakes. That would be crazy.
Who is your mentor?
My mentor would be my lovely, wonderful mother, Rita. She's amazing, and she taught me so much about how to cook, but also like enjoy cooking because it's fun. It shouldn't be stressful. You're just in the kitchen making things to share, and it's gonna be a fun time.
What is your favorite vegetarian recipe?
Well, I like pizzas. Like, I wish I could eat pizza all the time. I have like this potato tart with Gruyere underneath it and like puff pastry that's really fun, and tons of pastas. Oh my God, I can have pasta with fresh pesto, a little cheese, heaven.
Where do you get your inspiration from for the flour cakes?
From nature. Like, I love fresh flowers. So I like things on cakes to be totally edible and delicious though, so I don't love fondant for that reason. So no fondant flowers for me. You could put real flowers on the cake, but I just think it's nice to not have to pick something off of your food when you're eating it. So I love having a natural looking flour cake with buttercream.
How did you hone your craft with baking and beautiful flour cakes?
By practicing. I knew nothing about cake decorating before I started Preppy Kichen like 3 or 4 years ago. So I just had to teach myself everything, and a lot of it's intuitive. Like, you get a set of piping tips, start playing around with it, get good recipes for buttercream on preppykichen.com, and just have fun.
Do you like Harry Potter?
I watched the Harry Potter movies and I enjoyed them greatly. I tried reading one of the books at the beach once, and it was really long. Like, the sand was getting in the pages, so that kind of just like ended that.
Can you make a video of your favorite red velvet recipe and use a big one for my mom's birthday?
I did, and it's up on YouTube and on the blog. So you can click up here and I'll add a card in so you can go directly and make that cake.
Can you make a Fortnite cake?
I don't know what Fortnite is. I think it might be a video game that's really popular with children or young adults, but I don't know.
Well, if Fortnite is a certain number of days.
Well, I know Fortnite is 2 weeks, but I think it's something else as well.
But what cupcake recipe should I use for my sister's bridal shower?
You can use a vanilla cupcake recipe. I have a great one on the blog. It's a favorite. There's also a YouTube video for it. Or a strawberry cupcake. The vanilla cupcakes are easier to make and they'll keep better if you're making some ahead of time.
What's your zodiac sign?
I'm a double Virgo with something else rising.
Will you do a French macaron tutorial?
Yes, I get this requested all the time, and I promise you I will make a French macaroon tutorial, but it's kind of complicated to do a macaroon correctly and show you correctly. Like, for example, you have to like take the egg whites, put them in the fridge for a couple days to age so they become more liquidy, and then use them. So you have to like do this prep work.
What is your all-time favorite cake and cake flavor?
Do you remember the answer to this? This is the one that you took away from me.
We'll say no.
No, it was a tiramisu cake. I made this tiramisu cake and it was my favorite. That cake I was actually in the process of eating the entire thing when I was stopped.
Where's your favorite vacation spot?
I love going to the UK. It's so fun. It's so beautiful. It's like, I love every place I've been to. We also love going to Connecticut, and I think when the kids are a little bit older, there might be some Hawaii trips. We'll see.
How was your day?
It was a good day. It's Friday. I had this coconut. It cracked open perfectly into 2 halves, made my day.
How did you get started on YouTube?
So I actually would make Instagram videos primarily, like little super short videos, and I would park them on YouTube to be able to upload them to my blog. But then this year I decided I wanted to make longer videos because I was getting a ton of questions on process, and I wanted to help all of the people on the blog to understand exactly what steps, answer all their questions so that nobody was intimidated, and I started making longer YouTube videos. And it was just kind of trial and error. Like if you go back in my feed, you'll see the videos get worse and worse and worse as I'm at the beginning process of learning.
I want to start baking. What are some tools I should buy?
I have a whole video on my favorite kitchen gadgets, which you can click up here for. Has like all of my favorites and like what I think work and doesn't work.
Are you working on a book?
That's in process, so hopefully soon we'll like get into like John has to do a book mode. Been really busy, but definitely on my to-do list.
Last question. When are you getting a TV show?
When am I getting a TV show? I don't know. This is kind of a TV show, but it's like a smaller audience, or not on television unless you are on the YouTube app. So that's on my list of goals that I would like to happen. So if anyone's watching, feel free to, give me a call. All right, bye everybody. Thanks for watching.